What's up guys, your boy Connor. Today we're doing like a review slash instructional on the Moonsmc quarter fairing. Mainly because I ran into so much trouble. So I ordered it on Black Friday and it was like 200 bucks, 230, and then plus the clamps from Moonsmc. I wish I still had them so that way I could show y'all. And they were about 100 bucks for two sets, 130. So it ended up coming out to like 360 something, 370, and compared to the Harley Davidson quarter fairing, where that one's $399, somewhere around there. That one's $399, and it comes with a set of 39 millimeter. Comes with a set of 39 millimeter fork clamps, and so you still have to order the 49 millimeter. Anyway, so long story short is it was just a nightmare getting that thing on. I ordered it and I thought it was gonna be simple plug and play because that's the way it was advertised, and on their site for their 49 millimeter clamps it says, "Oh, use these to install." And so I went ahead and got it. I was so excited. I opened it and it looked awesome. And then I tried to put it on and it just didn't work. So I was starting to get frustrated. I messaged them and I said, "Hey, I don't know how this goes on." And they said, "Oh, well, it's a lot of information. Let me go ahead and call you in the morning or call you tomorrow." And so I'm like, okay, that's fine. And so it ends up being like 2 o'clock. And so I messaged him on Instagram again, said, "Hey, any ETA on when that phone call is coming?" And he said, "Oh, actually, I'm busy. I've been running around all day. I'll get you something," etc., etc. And so it was kind of like a bummer just because I wanted to throw it on there. I was so excited, and the fact I couldn't put it on there, and I kept on trying to figure out if it was just the clamps themselves. And so on my way home from there, Tommy called me and he was saying like, "Yeah, dude, I know it can be done. One of the guys here at Moons, that he put it on his Streetbob, and they're actually in the works of doing a folder or like a couple handouts of how to install them with their clamps." That was another thing, is I said, "Hey man, do you have any pictures of how this is supposed to look?" Because I had no idea how it went. I tried every which way on installing the clamps and it just was not working out, where the forks were on this side and the clamps kept on going inward towards the headlight and not outward. I'll show you with the HD ones how it's supposed to look, and I could not get theirs to do it. So it was just very frustrating. And he said, "Hey man, try out inverting or flipping the mounts, not necessarily the mounts but the brackets." I said, "Okay, hell yeah." So I was all optimistic. So I go home and I start trying to do so. I take off one, but then I see that the mounting points would not work if I rotated them or even if I swapped them. So I got frustrated again. I said, "You know what, dude, I'm gonna return these." And I wrote them a letter, just because I feel that they need to know the faults, and because on their website it says it fits, it works, but I don't see it working unless you fabricate on your end a part that attaches to the mount. And I don't know, the fact that they kind of threw it out there and started advertising that it does fit the fairing without any photos, or at least something that shows that it does work, I don't know, I think that's a fault on them. Great customer service, best for the product. And then I started getting upset. I almost returned it just because the frustration, because then I started looking for Harley Davidson quick release clamps and no one had them in store. There was like one here in San Antonio, another one in Green, another one way up in Round Rock, but no one had them on hand. So I started getting upset at that. So this is just the biggest frustration ever. And so I ended up ordering from Green Harley Davidson. And so another thing that kind of ticked me off again was that the quick release clamps, they came in their own separate boxes. Yeah, that's fine, but they did not come with the bolts needed to bolt them on there. And I don't know how, like, dude, what? How do you know? And so I had a 3/8 bolt and a 5/16 bolt. And I tried threading it, but it only threaded so much, like probably like 3 or 4 threads. And so I was like, "Is this even the right one?" I went to Caliente again. I went to Caliente, and I went and started talking to the guys over at the parts department, and they were confused as well. They said it should be, they tried coarse thread, fine thread, and all these other ones of 5/16 and 3/8, and they just couldn't get it. And so one of them was like, "I think this is pretty much metric." So off I went to Home Depot. I bought several sizes of the metrics, and mostly just the length, just because if I was only able to put a couple threads, then maybe all I need is a smaller thread one. And so I actually called Harley Davidson, the customer service number, and it was someone who just picked up. It was like their regular customer service line, and I started asking them, and she was so confused the fact that they didn't come with bolts. And I said, "That's what I said. Why would you sell something and then not have the bolts needed for it?" So it's like, I don't know. So that's another thing. And then they said that I couldn't talk to one of their techs specifically because all I needed was a bolt size. That's all I was calling for. And I couldn't talk to one of their techs unless one of the dealerships from their service called them on my behalf or something. I don't know. There was a lot of middleman stuff that had needed to be done that I just was not dealing with it. And so I really wanted to return it. So then I started, like, I got so close And I noticed that, yes, this is a great product. I mean, I wouldn't say great, it's a good product. And once I started looking at the Harley Davidson one, there's slight differences. So here's the Moonsmc quarter fairing. It came packaged really well. On top is the laminar lip extension. But it came packaged really well. When I came off it was all saran wrapped all around here. The shields were actually all saran wrapped. And so that was good. But when I started taking off the saran wrap, I had to unscrew it. Some of these grommets, I don't think you'll be able to see them, but they were all torn to bits. Like, see, this one's all half torn. And so it's just product quality. It's good, but the fact that little details like that, it's like, oh, come on, man. Like, I mean, I know you're paying half the price. And on the interior is how here it looks like it's just stamped. Like, sure, that's, you know, whatever, that's fine. And then when you look at the Harley Davidson one, it's a double finished side. I could almost compare it as to like when the Conley fairings first started, how a lot of people were complaining about the finish on the interior was a little rough. That's kind of how I feel about this, but maybe they could spend a little more time just finishing it out, even if they just sand it or something. So that's that, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the mounting. And as for the headlight, there is, let's see if we can illuminate it from the top. There is a slight gap. I mean, I'm fine with that. It's just because for some of the spacers and stuff, they're like 60 bucks. Let's go. There we go. That's probably a little easier. So there's that gap right there. Oh God. And all I did to kind of minimize that was I put these little nylon spacers from Home Depot. Thanks to Mopar Brent, giving a little shout out for helping me out with that. And then as for the spacer, for the actual headlight mount, all I did was it was mounted like that. And so I just unscrewed the bolt and I rotated it on a horizontal axis to where the headlight hole, where it was, I just pushed it forward, or ended up just pushing it forward. Where's it back? Yeah, I ended up just pushing it a little forward just because I was having a little trouble with the top of the forks or the triple tree kind of rubbing. So let's go ahead and take a look at it, take these things off, and see how it is. We're going to go ahead and remove it since I had to clean the inside, because whenever I put it back on, I guess it got dirty. Now it's just, I got to clean my bike anyway. So we're going to go ahead and remove it. With the clamps, I went ahead and got 3 of the quick release and 1 of the locking ones, just since they are quick release, that someone can just come straight up jack them. And since these are a pretty penny, I decided to go ahead and protect the investment. And I'm going to go ahead and include all the part numbers that you need, or that these are, since they are specific on the size. So we can take a closer look. Oh, let's see what we're looking at. Okay, so we can go ahead and take a closer look. Here are the 2 aluminum spacers. I wanted to get aluminum just because it would kind of match with that, but that's pretty much the only reason. It's just a little bit stronger. I feel it won't deteriorate over time with the sun and all that, but this will probably stay here for a long time. As for the bolt on the actual headlight block, it's still the stock one, and so I just rotated it, like I said, on a horizontal axis. I brought the mounting point from the rear just a little bit forward. It's a slight difference, not even much, but it kept on bumping here initially. And once you kind of get the fairing in a general location of how you want it, then you start playing with the headlight and moving it forward. And so I actually had a good little amount of room. As for the bottom bolt, this was the stock one, and I went ahead and just got a bigger one. Not much, because I had a whole lot taller one. I don't think I have it on hand. And it was just a little long, so I went ahead and just got this one, even with the spacers. No, that's not right. And this is the bigger one. This is not the one I got. But just the difference. See, so there it goes. I ended up getting the one that's between this size and this size. I can't tell you whichever one, the size it is, because I have all kinds of bolts and plastic and stuff. But it's for the most part the same size, just a longer bolt. And that's all you need for that. And then the 2 aluminum spacers. And those spacers aren't even that tall. I think altogether, yeah, it's about 1 inch, if that. And yeah, I just got them at Home Depot. I think for those 2 it was like $1.30 or something. All together with all just the hardware that's obviously not included in the quick release clamp kit. I don't know why still. Harley, you suck. But say just the bolts and then the little nylon spacers, I think it was only like $6, so it's not too bad. Go ahead and look at the actual fairing. So these are the bolts I ended up getting for the quick release clamps. So this is the bolt I ended up going with. So the bolt size I ended up getting for the actual quick release clamps are the M8-1.00 × 12. And it's a hex cap screw, metric fine pinch, just because whenever I was trying to mount it, I actually got larger ones, thinking since there's so much thread space in here that I needed to take up all of it. So when I went ahead and tried screwing, only so many threads were able to start going in there before I even had to go in there with a wrench, and even then it was still pretty tough. This is how I've seen all the quick release clamps, or at least all the clamps for the fairings go on. The ones from Moons, they were mounted the same, except this part was coming directly here, so I had no idea how it was supposed to mount. I mean, I tried everything. I tried feeding it from this side, from other stuff. Theodore, up in Oklahoma, a fellow YouTuber, he sent me a photo where he just zip tied them to his forks, and I said, dude, that works, man. I got close to doing that, because I had this, I ordered it Black Friday, got here probably like that later on that Wednesday, the following week, and I ended up having to order these quick release clamps from Green Harley Davidson. And I think it took about a week. So that following week they came in, and then I realized they didn't come with bolts on. It was just a pain in the butt. So that's why I'm making this video, because there's another video out there, but all he really shows is how to put it together, the Harley Davidson one, as to putting the windshield down, putting these clamps together, and that's pretty much it. And then the headlight spacer he got. It doesn't actually show how to mount them. So that was, I was so frustrated. I was like, come on, dude. And there's, I don't know how there's not that many more videos. So there's that. So here are the quick release clamps. This is how they go. Like I said, there's the, and the spacer, here's the, I found the little tag for the spacer. It says nylon spacer, 3/8 of an inch times 1 inch times 3/8 of an inch. Again, I was trying to go for the aluminum, just because aluminum, I don't know, I felt like it'd be a better choice. I feel like it would last longer. And so 3 of the quick release clamps, just a quick release, and then 1 of the locking quick release clamps, just again to protect the investment so no one walks away with a fairing. So the total install time for this is like, I want to say maybe 40 minutes to an hour, and that's with putting the clamps on, the bolts and everything, the spacers, reorientating the headlight block, and you're pretty much set to go after that. And it's pretty much just playing with the fairing and figuring out where it goes, and then readjusting the headlight to kind of fit with the fairing. That's pretty much just the main issue. All right, as for install, when you want to install it, you want to have these brackets a little loose so you can play with it and see where you need to go. I'm going to go ahead and try it by installing it with just as is, how they are. So we'll see how that goes. Another point to notice with the Moons fairing is how dirty they get on the inside. I'm assuming there was dirt when I put the little windshield back on, but the shield, the little plastic, it's already looks super scratched. That's why I say there was probably dirt inside, because all these little scratch marks are all around here where it mounts to the actual fairing, and it's just not looking that good. So I would go ahead and say, I mean, you might just want to wait if you're thinking about getting a fairing, and just go ahead and just get the Harley Davidson one. So as for mounting it, the quick release clamps help a whole lot, because it kind of makes it quick release. I was kind of just trying to find out where it was. There it goes. There's that one. Gotta realign you. Bring you that way. That one's good. That one's good. And there we have it. We are back on track.